Hey everyone, bit of a news update today on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, which unfortunately has just been officially delayed into 2023. We haven't gotten any information further than that on the release date, but in the blog post posted this morning, they did at least give us some consolation information to ease the hit of yet another big release getting pushed back to next year. The reason they gave for the delay is pretty standard. They said, "Our goal with Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown is to make it the most polished gaming experience in the franchise by spending more time on its development." So it's good to hear that they want to take the time to make sure the game lives up to fan expectations, but that statement also increases fan expectations. I mean, saying they want to make it the most polished game in the franchise isn't exactly a high bar to set, but nonetheless, it is going to open the game up to more scrutiny if it still releases in a buggy state. That said, of course, let's hope for the best and dive into some of the info they gave us on what they're trying to bring in Solar Crown. For starters, they did reiterate that this would be a one-to-one reproduced environment of Hong Kong Island. I know there's been some theories floating around about the game possibly including some of the mainland or other islands, and it seems like they're trying to nip those theories in the bud. They even gave us a stat for the amount of drivable roads in Solar Crown, stating that they want to make all of Hong Kong Island and its 550 kilometers of roads to be a no-limits playground where the fun never ends. So, 550 kilometers, or about 340 miles for us US folk, is a lot of road. It really does seem like we're going to get just about every little side street, offshoot, and exit that exists in the real Hong Kong Island, which is only about 10 miles across. For what it's worth, this is only about a third the amount of drivable road that was in TDU 1, and of course less than what was in TDU 2, which contained both Oahu and Ibiza. But of course, quality over quantity, and over 500 kilometers of drivable road is still quite a lot. Now, as if to address a lot of other player concerns, the post goes on to say that the TDU franchise has a rich and complex DNA. With a realistic driving experience, social interactions with other players, a wide variety of races and game modes, and a major lifestyle component that goes beyond simple street battles on wheels. Buying a car from a dealership, listening to the radio while driving, putting the top down when the rain stops, using the turn signals properly, and even simply opening the window are all details that millions of players have fallen in love with. Our goal is to meet those expectations and to stay true to the franchise's DNA by including all those details. But we also want to go further and offer new experiences. So wow, big info dump there, and a lot of promises that I think a lot of us really wanted to hear, because it's rightly said that all of those features mentioned are what set TDU apart and what many of us did fall in love with. It's not just about the racing, it's about the joy of driving and the lifestyle around it. So I think we all hoped for those features to return, and it's great that KT Racing understands that. Also in that paragraph, they said, a realistic driving experience, and that isn't the first time it's been mentioned in the media for Solar Crown. It does seem like they're going for a more sim approach with the game, or maybe at least for a Forza Horizon Simcade style experience. KT Racing, the developers of Solar Crown, are also known for making the later WRC games, which while historically have been a bit more arcadey, have lately been pushing much more into a full simulation game. Either way though, I've always enjoyed the handling model in WRC games, even when it leaned more arcade, so I am confident that wherever Solar Crown lands on the sim to arcade slider, it will at least be an enjoyable driving experience, which I'll be honest, was not a high point in TDU 1 or 2 for me. So moving on, the blog post then talks about the rivalry the game is setting up between the two clans, the Sharps and the Streets, which you'll be able to join and compete for in-game. It looks like on top of owning your own apartment, you'll also have a clan house, which they shared some concept art for here. Here's what the post has to say about the style and gameplay of each clan's headquarters. The Streets, whose culture has a more underground nightclub vibe, gather in an old building they've taken over for the Solar Crown competition. It's located in the industrial district of Wan Chai on the northern central part of the island. As for the Sharps, they have privatized the top floor and balcony of the luxury building in the western district to the west of the city. A more subdued and sophisticated atmosphere reigns in this HQ. Each of the HQs has a public area that can be accessed by all players, whether they are a street or Sharp, but the more interesting part is the VIP area, which is only open to clan members who have proved their allegiance. In this area, out of sight of non-members, meetings are held and missions are assigned with the aim of destabilizing the rival camp. And that is a tease if I've ever heard one. This has me really curious what the gameplay implications are going to be. Is this just going to serve as a mission hub for NPCs? Or will there be a more online, multiplayer-focused element to grouping up and warring against the rival clan? And what perks will that have? I'm curious if there's going to be a sort of ongoing global competition where the winning clan gets more money or XP bonuses while they're in the lead, or maybe it'll be more focused on clan team races and championships. I think if done right, the whole Streets versus Sharps setup could be the endgame focus for Solar Crown. Now, towards the end of the post, we learned that closed beta testing will be kicking off soon, stating that they are currently working on a schedule for closed betas, and some of us will get the chance to test the game long before it releases. No dates yet, but I am definitely going to be trying to get access to that closed beta. And finally, the post ends on a bit of a sad note for some, but potentially high note for others. It looks like development of Solar Crown has been cancelled for PS4 and Xbox One, stating that they want to make the most of the technology in the latest consoles and maximize the overall quality of the game. This is, of course, a huge blow to a lot of players. Many people still aren't able to get a hold of the newer consoles, and even so, they're expensive. That said, it does mean KT and Nacon are pushing for a game that will probably look very good on modern consoles and PC, likely utilizing ray tracing. Now, very interestingly, they didn't mention the game being cancelled for the Switch, which did show up on the closing cards for the trailers. So I've got to take this to mean that Solar Crown will be a streaming release for the Switch. There's just no way to me that they can't get the game running on PS4 or Xbox One, but will have it running native on a Switch. I mean, I don't want to completely rule it out. Test Drive Unlimited 1 runs completely native on a PSP, so there's a chance. But with the wave of streaming releases on Switch anyway, I think this must be where Nacon is headed. So anyway, that said, lots to digest here. I'm still very curious what we're going to see at this summer's Nacon Connect. Hopefully we get some gameplay, but either way, I'll see you there for another Solar Crown video. Thanks for watching.